Welcome to another episode of Until It's Done, a devoted podcast. I'm your host, Dana and Kelley. Happy New Year, 2025.
Happy New Year.
And I'm in the studio with Kelley. Welcome back.
Yes.
So we just did a recap of 2024 last week. We did a recap. Now we are officially in 2025. Yes. Which I love. I don't know. There's something solid about 2025, right?
That's it feels good.
Feels good.
Yeah.
So I want to talk today about New Year's resolutions. Do you make them? Or how do you feel about them? And then I want to talk a little bit about using social media in a positive way, I think, going forward, because I think I have conversations with people all the time where they're like, oh, I have this like love-hate relationship with social media. Yeah. I need to detox off of social media. But it's like, are we using it correctly? What's our mindset behind social media? You know, I feel like it can be a really great tool if your mind is right about it. Because mine used to not be, you know, and then now that my mind is better about social media, I'm like, I don't let it like penetrate into me in the negative ways. So I do want to like talk about that because I can't escape it. I own a company that's social media driven. So it's like, okay, I had to come to terms with that. But how do you, and I think in 2025, that is, there's a lot. Social media just keeps evolving. It's getting so it's something that I just want to talk about. But first of all, resolutions. Do you do New Year's resolutions?
No, not really.
Okay. I mean, I feel like I don't know if it became a thing.
I used to. I mean, when I was younger, you know, I mean, it was like, I think because it was, you know, trendy or expected or whatever. But yeah, no, I mean, because my resolutions are they're
always the same.
The stuff that I want to get done with my life is always the same. Right. You know, I'll do a word of the year. You know, I pray and I ask God to give me a word of the year, and so that's what my I revolve around that. You know, like last year it was trust, and that evolved into obedience. I learned that as more that I trust Him, that I have obedience towards Him, and then my life just naturally gets better. Yeah. This year my word is growth.
Oh, nice.
Which is really interesting. And I was like, are you sure? Are you sure you want to stretch me like a rubber band again? But apparently that's going to happen.
Yeah, but growth, so, we're never really stop growing.
Yeah, it's a really good word, growth. And then a second one that don't have confirmation on that, but I mean, it fits with who I am, which is create. That was the other word that I got. So I'm like, okay, this could be.
I like that.
This could be really, really good. And like for me personally and for devotion, you know, growth and create. You know, yes. That's what that's what I do with you. So it's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think those are good words. I like that. Yeah. It's funny. It's like I don't do like resolutions, but it's like more of like I'll like say like my intentions, like what do I intend to do, what do I want to do, like what are some things this year that I'd like to accomplish. I don't really like to like put like I don't know, I don't like to say like a New Year's resolution because like you said, it's like it's a continuation.
Yeah. You know what I saw? Actually, I saw a really cute idea. This was, you know, when I was in my right mindset on social media, but I was actually going to talk to you about it because, you know, we like lists.
Yeah.
You know, love our lists, love our whiteboards and check marks and checking things off and stuff like that. Somebody had come up with a really cute idea, and you may have already seen it too, but it's a 2025 bingo card.
Oh, that's
but
cute.
You make it for you. You can do it on a canvas, or for us, we could do it on our card. And it's like a bingo, and you put what your intention. Okay, so like if we're going to release another new seasonal flavor, put that on there, or the Hydroflex, or we want to have a brand visit, or we want to have this, and you just like your bingo card that you play all year.
That's so cute.
So I thought that was a really neat idea. Yes. And it's a way to make it fun. We're checking off lists, but we're also, you know, some of them can be things that we already maybe know we're going to happen. Yeah. Some can be things that we're just, you know, that are maybe just those big wild dreams that we have for devotion, and put those in there too, and just see what happens. You know,
I'm game to do that.
I think that would be so fun, right?
Yeah, and hang it up and put something.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw yesterday, and I sent it to all my kids. Oh, of course, it had to close when I opened my thing. I save like a bunch of like memes on social media because like I wanted to go there with this. And yesterday I had sent it to all my kids. I screenshotted it and I told them I wanted to write down some goals. I want them to start look at like different people are at different phases of their lives where they don't feel like they need that. They're already on their way. They're on their path. They're doing positive things. It's not like I've got like nasty habits to kick. I'm not a drinker. I'm not a smoker. It's like, okay, so like there's nothing, that like is like nagging me that I'm like, I have to make a change and this is really hard for me. I've accomplished a lot of the things with myself that I'm happy where I am, and that doesn't mean I'm perfect, so I will keep going.
Yes.
But there's nothing, but with my children, they're so young and they're developing, and I feel like, I said to them, let's all write down, what do we want to do? Like I said to Bodie at the beginning of the school year, well, what are your goals for this year? And he was like, I want to make the soccer team, I want to do this, I want to do that. And it's like, great, like those are great goals, but then it's like we never wrote them down.
Yeah.
And I think that was a mistake. It's like sometimes when you write them down and you hang them up and you see them in person, you see them in writing, like you see them in front of you and you put them up on a board. They just come more.
They come to life too if you're seeing it all the time. And that way you can say, okay, well, you can write down the goal and then how are you going to achieve that?
Right.
What are you going to do weekly
to
help
steps?
you reach that goal?
Yes.
So, are you going to spend, an hour practicing soccer, every day so that you can make sure that you make the soccer team, and then check off those things.
I like that.
So
exactly.
You can have all the goals in the world, but if you don't have a plan,
right,
then it's just then it's just a dream. It's a daydream, not a goal.
So this post says writing down goals increases their likelihood by 42%.
Yeah,
I don't know where they got that number, but it says this method is a perfect parallel to how we plan and execute tasks in everyday life, such as creating shopping lists or designing renovation plans. By clearly defining and regularly reviewing your objectives, you enhance clarity, accountability, memory retention, which are crucial for success.
Well, not only that, when they're writing them down, they're doing the accountability thing, because when you write them down and you share them with mom, then now you have a built-in in for your kids. Because they're not an only child, so you've got a full accountability team.
Yes,
that can see. Okay, well, if it could turn into sibling rivalry. You could turn into,
whatever.
But whatever, hey, well, you didn't do anything on your goal this week, or you didn't do anything on your goal, and they can call you too.
Right.
If everybody has them on there, so yeah, that's huge. That I was going to say share them with a friend, but yeah, just to have an accountability. It could be family goals.
I mean, it could even be being kinder to each other. They fight so much.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The individual goals, and then your goals as a family.
Yeah.
As a family unit, what do you want to accomplish this year?
I like that.
So that would be really fun.
And I think that like some of the things, and this goes to everybody who's listening. You don't have to make them directly. Like when somebody writes, I want to lose 20 pounds.
Yeah.
It's like, well, okay, lose 20 pounds. But it's like instead, like, why not make goals where they're just like healthy lifestyle goals where as a result, that will probably happen.
Exactly.
Like if you say like, I'd really like to hit my 8,000 steps a day or my 10,000 steps, or like these are things that will just increase your health, but then will ultimately probably add up to other things that would probably include losing some weight. If you're very sedentary right now, adding that to your life.
Well, that goes down to if that's, losing 20 pounds isn't the root.
Right.
That's
it's like swapping my nighttime.
Yeah.
My nighttime. A lot of people find that nighttime cravings, like I know that's when I have the most difficulty, will be at night. I want something. Like lately, I've been finding myself in the pantry again, or if I don't, and it's like, okay, well, instead of just like making it, I want to lose 20 pounds. It's like, I'm going to stop the Ben and Jerry, like bringing Ben and Jerry's into my house. Now I'm going to make a devotion hot chocolate every night, or like,
I had that last night.
Yeah.
That's what I had last night when I wanted something. Yeah.
Oh, it's a great way to like feel satisfied, fill up, and then kind of crush a chocolate craving, because that's always what I have. And okay, so, but then that will result in changes.
Exactly.
So it's like you can get, but I feel like when you just make a broad goal and you aren't specific and you're like, I just lose 20 pounds. Well,
that's true.
What are you doing? But it's like, make the little things where you say, I'm going to make an effort to hit my steps every day. Like that's getting in now more activity.
Yeah.
And then those are the, but I think that it's and just saying I want to lose weight is very daunting to people. That's like, oh, and that's why why do you think so many people fail?
But how are you going to do it? So that's where the plan part comes in. You know,
not having a plan.
How are you going to do it? Exactly.
If you don't, you fail when you don't have a plan.
I have to make sure that I'm going to hit my steps. I have to make sure I'm prioritizing my protein. To make sure get my snacking at bay.
Water.
And if that means that I'm going to have to track for the first, because I go back to tracking when I feel myself getting off.
Me too.
Because I don't track every day,
yes,
or anything like I used to. But if I feel like my pants are a little tight, then I go back to tracking, because sometimes it's easy to get off.
Well, and sometimes you lose, and like sometimes I'll realize like either I'm under eating or I'm overeating if I'm not tracking, and then I'll be like yesterday. It was nighttime and I'm sitting in bed and I'm like, how did I do today? And I actually sat there and plugged in. I was like trying to think back to everything
I've done that too, Because
then I'm like, let me just see. Like I'm feeling badly about myself, but like maybe I didn't do so bad, or maybe I didn't, and that's why I'm hungry. Like maybe because I was sitting in bed and I'm like, I'm kind of like snacky right now. And then I'm like, oh, I didn't even get close to my protein. No wonder. But like that will bring you back to accountability. And then also like making realistic plans. Like if you want to get to the gym, make a realistic plan for yourself. Like, don't be like, I'm getting in there 7 days a week. No, it's like those things are like, well,
and make sure you have the tools to, like today, because I've been bad about prepping my, I always prep my breakfast. That's not really an issue. And then I'll have puddings, but that's easy to make.
Easy stuff. Yeah.
But actually prepping my meals, I've been bad about this month since I got back from Texas.
Yeah.
And I thought, the reason I'm being bad is because I don't have my meal prep containers. So I was like, what, screw it, just order them.
Yeah.
So I got some brand new meal prep containers, and then so if you have all of that stuff, it's like you and your overnight oats. Make sure that you have the overnight oats and your protein for that. And then and then your protein for your coffee creamer. So
there's a lot today I'm running out of the house and I had to get here to do the podcast, and I woke up a little late, and I was kind of like lollygagging because of like that we've been in holiday mode. And then
now that's what life is. It's a lollygag the week in between.
And I'm losing track of time. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get out the door. And I go to the fridge. I have no loaves. Usually I grab a loaf. I had no loaves made because I've been home every day. And like my loaves are my busy life tool. My loaves are grab a loaf and go. But like we've been home. So like I've been making everything. So I had no loaves made. I had no overnight oats made. We ate the last one, and Greggy will sometimes eat them, or like Bijou will eat one. So then I'm like, okay, I lost track. I had none of those. And I'm like, oh my, I'm not even prepared. Like, this is terrible. And I needed a grab and go. I needed the overnight oats to be ready. And like in our busy lives, when we fail is when we aren't prepared. And that's where it's like, take a good look at like, if you're not accomplishing your goals, and you feel like you're stumbling or you keep screwing up, it's like, well, what's screwing up? Is it the fact that you didn't go grocery shopping, that you don't have the things that you need in your house, and then you don't have the things to prepare what you need? But if you want to make the loaves, go order the pans, go get the stuff. There's like 4
Make sure you have
ingredients.
The things that'll make it easy for you to do that.
And then take time. The other thing is people are always like, oh, I don't have time. Oh, you have time to watch Netflix episodes.
You have time to scroll on social media.
Right.
Spend that 30 minutes you spent scrolling, prepping your loaves or prepping your...
And the loaves, there are some days I walk downstairs and just as soon as I fire up my coffee maker, I fire up the oven. I'm like one eye closed. I put it at 350. I know that's what I'm going to do. And I'm like loaves, monkey bars, brownies. Like I have my
let me tell you what, ever since I was over to your house, the day of our...
Yes. Debacle.
Damage control. Yes. Our debacle. Okay. And Greg's going to hear this. I got into his monkey bars.
I don't okay.
I've been craving them now. I'm like, oh my gosh, but you make them differently than I do. So I need to watch you make those again one time, or watch the video. So that I can do the crumble and stuff. I was like, because I never put them in the freezer. I never did that. Those were so good.
Yeah. If you put them in the freezer, and like that, Greg puts them in the freezer for like, for portion control. So, cause he's like, if I leave them warm on the oven, on the stove,
he clean up the edges.
He'll keep cleaning them. He's like, the whole thing will be gone in a day. So he's like, they last me longer if I have to take them out of the freezer and like
let them sit a second.
And then he'll like think it through.
But they were so good.
They're so good.
Oh my gosh. I'd forgotten. I hadn't had one in a while.
Well,
and I was like, that's what I need in my freezer for when I'm snacking.
But I know him. Greg and I got in like a thing the other day where he's like, don't make me any more monkey bars. I'm going to end up eating so many. And I was like, if I don't make them for you, you will be in the pantry in the kids' snacks. You will be. And then he gets upset because he's in the chips and he's in the, things that like maybe I pack for lunch, or he'll be in the cereal, or I'm like, you are going to be in something because you're hungry. You're an athlete. You run. Like, you're hungry. I mean, he'll go, Dane, I'm viciously hungry. I don't know why. I'm like, but I'm like, when I have your monkey bars, at least you're eating something that has the fiber in it. It's got the protein. Yeah. And then he eats those and he's good. Yeah. So I'm like, of course I'm making them for you. And then every time I don't make them, he's upset where he opens the freezer looking for them. So I'm like, I told you. I'm like, you told me not to play. He goes, well, now I'm eating chocolate covered almonds and now I'm eating, it's your fault. And I'm like, it's my fault.
It's your fault?
Yeah.
Accountability, Greggy.
So now I don't listen to him. He'll be like, what are you making? I'm making your monkey bars. And like, if you don't want to eat them, they'll be in the freezer, but I know what you're eating.
If you're not going to eat them, I'm going to call Kelly. She'll come over and eat them.
It's the first thing he goes to. Yeah. And at night when he needs something, he goes to his monkey bars. It's like, it's like I'm like, no, I know you. Yeah. Like, I know you. You're going to be into everything else. Then you're going to be upset, So if you don't have them, so I make them every week. And then my loaves, same thing. In fact, I'm going to make them today because I didn't have any. And I'm going to make my overnight oats. It's like I do a whole thing where I go into devotion prep mode. Yeah. Because life all of a sudden picks up. Yeah. The kids are going to be back in school. We're going to be back in the studio. I had to have physical therapy for my shoulder. I got all this stuff. Yeah. I have to have the things in the fridge because I want to know what I'm eating. I want to know that, I'm getting my protein, and I want to have something with me so that I'm not then like scrambling or getting hangry at people.
Exactly.
But that's when people fail, when they're not prepared.
Exactly.
And then they end up
That's the saying. What is it? Fail to prepare to fail.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's the stuff that I do. And, and I'm giving Bijou her ideas for snacks to take to school because, she also gets to the same problem. She tries to make healthy choices and then she ends up getting too hungry or she didn't bring a snack. And then she's like, no, Mom, and I'm like, well, you didn't prepare anything. So then you end up going to the school store buying some stupid, Uncrustable or something that I'm like, what is that? There's no protein in that. It's not going to keep you satisfied. Mm-hmm. No. It's just a bunch of empty calories that, So, So, I mean, it's good for the whole family. I brought Bodie. He likes those seaweed things. I bought those chomps, those beef sticks, like things like that. Because if not, like they're going to be, they're always searching too. I mean, kids are just as...
When they get bored,
And they get bored. So, okay, so that's our first lesson for keeping in mind for the year. So that was something. But anyway, the goals and the making the plans, that's huge. Yeah. So I want to talk about social media. Like I said, social media used to, I was just talking to my brother actually on the phone last night about this, where, he wants to he hates social media. He doesn't go on it, but he's like making these products that he wants to sell. And I'm like, Dave, like the best way to get exposure is social media. And then he's like, I hate it. It's like, I'll go on and then I'll see, my brother does metalworking. So he was like, I'll see other guys, metalworking, and I'll see their shops and they look better and they look perfect and they look this and they look that. And it gets in my head like I'm not doing enough.
And comparison is the what?
The thief of joy. Right. Because his head is not trained to look at social, like now, when I look at social media and I see, years ago when you're not trained, whether I see what other companies are doing, whether I see what other fitness moms are doing, whether I see, it's always, where you're like, oh, she's just grinding and she's got all the energy and she looks perfect and her hair and makeup are done and she's doing this. And
in that 5 minutes it was,
right.
She was pretending.
And right. And then I'm also seeing like other companies where it's like, you'll see companies that they look like they have it all together. Meanwhile, then they go out of business and you're like, oh, okay, I was so worried about them. And meanwhile, everybody hates their product. And I'm over here like, oh my God, like they're stealing our customer. Like I stopped all that. Yeah. I'm not doing that anymore.
Social media is a highlight reel.
It's a highlight reel. And you know what? I mean, what we do with it, I feel like, we're doing the podcast so we can reach people in different ways. Yeah. We show our kitchen recipes and things like that. When I show behind the scenes of my life, a lot of times I'm not wearing makeup. A lot of times I'm just with my kids, or I'm showing Nerf gun wars in my living room and all the craziness. And I don't edit it. I just try to be real about it. I've been real about my shoulder recovery. Some stuff I'm like, yeah, it might sound a little too perfect, but yeah, I am feeling great. Some people told me their brutal stories about their shoulder recovery. Yeah. I've been doing well. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's my mindset that I wasn't allowing myself to like sit there and just cry. Yeah. But I feel like this year, for people who struggle with social media, I know it's hard to escape, but I think it's getting your mind right and also following the accounts that make you feel good and that are positive and that are giving you really good advice. Yeah. If you start to follow too many accounts that are constantly fear-mongering you against things, it starts a lot of paranoia. It starts a lot of like, especially again, with there's misinformation. I mean, people, and it gets very confusing. And if you start feeling paralyzed, like I want to lose weight and yet I'm following this girl and she's telling me, do intermittent fasting, and then this other person's doing the carnivore diet and then this person's doing, and I start to feel conflicted. It's like, maybe just don't follow any of those people.
Exactly. Well, that's what I was supposed to say. Social media is not for advice. No. Okay. These are not professional healthcare providers or professional nutritionists. Right. Not all of them. I mean, there are some that are on there, but still, I mean, you have to, and some of them are so like hungry that they don't even know the difference between what's real and what's not, so there are a lot of them that are doing it that are deliberately misleading people.
Yes.
So you have to be very, very careful, guarding your eyes, guarding your ears, as to what you're letting in.
Yes.
Because it's a lot of BS.
Yep.
There is some good and some fun stuff, but it should all be a grain of salt. Yep. I mean, it's not.
And there are people who I follow who really do have things to back it. Like I love Lane Norton. I've always loved him because he keeps it real and he does do a lot of, like, all of his stuff is research based.
Exactly.
And he's honest with you, and he does. And then he also will break down some of that fear-mongering garbage that he sees.
Lane does a really good job of that.
Because he's like, stop, like, like, he's like, stop it. Like, these people are, like, talking on both sides, like, and then meanwhile, they end up selling a product. Like, the one thing that Devotion, and I've never done, I don't fear-monger anything. Like, like, I don't fear-monger ingredients. It's like, and I'm not talking bad about other brands. I'm saying, like, this is what we have. This is what we believe in. Take it or leave it. But, like, there are people who come on our page and then they're going to, I heard this about sucralose, or I heard this about this product. And it's like, okay, you, like,
that's something you heard.
That's great. Like,
did you look at the studies? Did you look up any of that stuff? No.
None of it's holding water.
Talking out their butts, basically. I get so pissed.
Yep.
With those people.
Oh my God. Somebody came, like, I was on a live and somebody saying that their liver function is due to sucralose. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Okay,
but
how much did you eat?
Well,
do you have an addiction to something that's going on? I mean, what else is going on with your liver?
But not only that, I'm like, there's no proof in this at all.
No,
I'm like, and it has nothing to do. I'm like, are you a drinker? Are you?
Exactly.
I promise you, like, I was like, sucralose is the number one used artificial sweetener in the country, like, for products. Like, we would have a lot of liver problems if
that's so funny. I think that was the one that I didn't. Did I tell you or did I tell Caitlin when that somebody had written about I think they made a comment on TikTok about the sucralose, and I said, adds a Splenda to my
I'm listening as I'm adding another Splenda to my coffee.
Adding another Splenda to my coffee on top of the Splenda that's in there. I mean, and it's just so stupid. It's such a small amount, and it's not. I mean, it's just.
Well, and here's the thing, like, these buzzwords. So the buzzword artificial.
Oh yeah.
So if you hear something's artificial, they're like, I don't want chemicals. It's artificial. It's artificial. Well, meanwhile, you can take that same word, artificial, and somebody could be artificially inseminated and make a beautiful, real baby and change their life and become parents. And that artificial is not so bad, is it? But then you're going to demonize the word artificial. How about an artificial heart?
Yeah.
How about an artificial leg? How about there are plenty of artificial things that just because you hear this buzzword artificial doesn't mean it's harming you. And if you're having some kind of reaction or whatever, okay, that doesn't mean the rest of the world is. There's plenty of people who can't eat peanuts. I love peanut butter, and my whole family does. But there are some people that will literally die from peanut butter.
Exactly.
So make your choice accordingly, but also like read the studies. And if I don't hear, how many people do you know that have died from artificial sweeteners? Have you gone to a lot of funerals of artificial? Zero.
Yeah. Or from, I don't know how you say that word. What's that? What's our other, the
carrageenan?
Thank you. That one.
So carrageenan, that is a thickener. It's been used for years. It's from seaweed, and it's used a very small amount. It's in our fiber blend. And carrageenan, like, has been used in foods forever. And there is food grade and there is non-food grade. Okay, so not only do we obviously use a food grade, but the food grade, like, when you look it up, it's like they're like, oh, it's causing all of this gastro inflammation and all these, and I'm like, causing it all to who?
Yeah.
Why are you I would use your product, but it has carrageenan.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great, but like, what? I mean, you don't hear anything about this product. Like, it's been in forever, for things in forever. And then I'm also not hearing about all of these people with all of these colon inflammatory like issues. Like, we have hundreds of thousands of customers, and that product is in so many things. It's in Fairlife.
Yeah.
It's in Fairlife chocolate milk. Like, stop. Like, it's in so many things that everybody's eating. People are fine. People are feeling great. People are losing weight. I have yet to see anybody. I mean, if somebody's going to get colon cancer or you're going to have a colon problem, those are deeper issues that you have. I mean, my grandmother died of colon cancer, and there was none of that. I don't even know what that was. That's a genetic thing. It's not caused by a little bit of a thickener.
Yeah.
From seaweed.
Yeah.
It's like enough. But like, people just want to spew it everywhere. Talk people out. Oh, I would have bought it. Okay, then don't buy it.
Exactly.
Like, don't buy it. You know? Yeah. And like, I have been, for the amount of time that I've been using Devotion, and for all of my blood work, all of my health stuff, all of my stuff. Okay, don't you think a marker would have showed up already?
Yeah.
My mom is 72. She's healthy as hell. Like, come on.
Yep.
And we're just two examples. I mean, three examples.
Three examples.
You know, come on. Like, so I don't know. The fear mongering behind so many things. And then there are things that if there are real studies done behind some like dyes and colors, and it's really solid, I got it. Like, then it's solid research. But the things that people are calling out, there is not solid research.
Well, that's
on humans.
That's probably like the biggest lesson that everyone that gets on social media needs to learn, including these people that are fear-mongering, is how to scroll on.
Yes.
It is not necessary for you to fear-monger or to be ugly or to say anything. You know, it goes back to, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Yeah.
Same thing, because these people would not be saying that if we were having, like you and I are having a conversation right now. They wouldn't be saying that things.
Yeah.
You know, but because they can say it unchecked on social media, they suddenly have cojones.
Exactly. And they'll just say it. Yeah. And then I'm like, are you trying to save all these people from like some what? No. From what? And then when you think about it, it's like, so then some of these ingredients, they'll say it's these are not trials on humans.
Exactly.
And when you think about doing a trial on the size of something like a mouse.
Exactly. Compared to us.
A mouse, a rat, something like that, a bunny. Like, let me tell you something. A horse is going to be affected by a certain dose, different than a human, different than a mouse. Yeah. I mean, there are things that, like, when they joke about, like, oh, like, that was like a horse tranquilizer. Yeah, because a horse needs a lot.
A lot.
I mean, a horse is what, 700 to 900 pounds? Like, like, I know I couldn't handle a horse tranquilizer. I'm sure it'll take me down. Yet the horse needs a hell of a lot more. It's like, it's just, the poison is in the dose. Mm-hmm. And when you're talking about small doses of things, and then you're talking about that you have a liver, you have a kidney, you have things that are filtering in your body, you're getting rid of it, you're not accumulating these things in quantity. Like, these things are not harming you. Like, stop it. And I personally feel, because there is that whole debate on like whether sugar's better or use regular sugar or use artificial sweeteners. I feel artificial sweeteners have made a huge difference in my life.
Yeah, me too.
Because anything that has real sugar in it is also packing a lot of calories.
Yeah.
And I know that I have to keep my calories in check.
Yeah.
You know, to maintain my weight.
Yeah. I think that I'd probably be better off with the tiny bit of sucralose than eating, huge amounts of sugar, if that sugar feeds cancer cells. If they're that worried about all that kind of stuff, I think I'd be better off the other way.
Right.
If they really had an argument, then that would make sense to them.
Yep.
But,
so that's my thing about social media. If you start to feel very anxious, conflicted, you're seeing things, I would take a step back and then really look at who you're listening to, and choose the people, filter down your feed to people who really have credibility, and street cred, people who are really doing it. You see, I mean, I think that a lot of people who follow me and have trusted to buy devotion, it's because they're seeing I'm using it. They're seeing my family use it. A lot of people said, oh, I actually bought it because I saw that your kids were eating it and they loved it, and anything that a kid liked. So it's like, really look at these people, their lives. Are they real people? Are they doing it day in and day out? And then also anybody who you're looking for medical advice from, really like check their credentials and do your own research.
Absolutely.
Do your own research.
Yeah. And the other thing is that I mean, what I just said about the ability to scroll.
Yep. And
then also, I highly suggest, if you feel like you're feeling some kind of way or anything like that, set a timer. Yeah. You have the screen time things. You do not need to be, if social media is interfering with you getting things done in your regular life, or you having joy or any of those things, then it's time to limit that.
Yes.
If you find that you're living more in your phone than you are living your life, then it's time to set some limits.
So, and what I do is with social media, so I get into my own head where I'll be working and I'll feel overwhelmed, or I'll feel stuck, or and a lot of times, like lately, I've been taking a lot of walks. Yeah. And sometimes I don't even listen to anything on my walk. Sometimes I just want to be in my head. But like I said, using social media to your advantage, I follow a lot of entrepreneur pages, business pages, and woman empowerment pages, people who are posting things to empower and lift you up and remind you. So what I'll do is I have, I'll save memes that I read that are very empowering to me, or it'll remind me of things, or it'll kind of, and so, I'll save them, and on my walk, I'll read them, and it kind of gets my head back in check without having to even call anybody else, without even having to, I'll read it, and it'll remind me that, that there is no such thing as overnight success, or whatever these motivational things. And it just gets my head right. And it's I find that social media is the place where I can find those things. So it's, because sometimes I feel lost. I'll feel oh my God, who do I talk to? Who do I talk, about how I'm feeling? I'm feeling overwhelmed, or I'm feeling upset, or I'm feeling whatever. So using it, I feel like saving positive posts, or following people that you resonate with, that do share things that are, tough, but remind you that you're not alone. That is where I feel social media can be helpful.
Yeah.
There's one Law of Ambition I follow, and it says, I want my kids to look at me and know hard work pays off. There's little posts that I'll say, that's right. That's why I'm not giving up. And I am, sometimes I'll be frustrated with the way my kids are at 15 and 12, but then I'm like, okay, Dana, they're watching you. They're still watching you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep being that motivation, so that one day when because I kind of think of myself at 12 or 15, and I'm like, I probably wasn't grinding that hard either. You know what I mean? But I was watching.
It was a lot slower when we were 12.
It was slower.
A lot slower, yeah.
But I'm saying, I was still watching what my mom was doing. I could still watch her take care of our home, and watch her go to work, and watch her doing all of the yard work. And so, even though maybe I wasn't doing it with her, I was watching, and I find myself now doing the things that I saw my mom doing. So I'm like, okay, even if I'm frustrated that the kids are making a mess or they're being lazy, Dana, still be that person that they need to see.
That does happen, because I'm seeing that with Caitlin. Some of the things when I didn't think she was paying attention, and now that So yeah, so
no, it's awesome.
That is, for me, it's I try not to do too. I mean, I don't do a lot of self-help. I do a lot of either Christian or God related content. So that's what recenters me.
Yeah.
But even then, sometimes I have to get off of it. But But yeah.
Well, it's really for whatever you need. Like for me, I put a lot of my pressure on myself with, the success, like business and making sure, because as an entrepreneur, I have the role of making sure we're making money so everyone can get paid, and then the company can grow, and that's and I'm like, whoo, like I gotta run payroll, and I'm like, okay, we're running payroll again, like gotta keep, and so it's like there's that extra pressure. So then sometimes when self-doubt comes in, or when I'm like, oh my God, do we have what it takes, or there's this other company out there, or this is happening, it's like I need to recenter myself to know you got this, you've come this far, let's keep going, or this is normal in business growth, or so those are like the things that I need to hear. And sometimes I just need to kind of like pop open my phone, read those things, get my mind right, and then I can get back to work. So that's really for anything. Like I said, I save these things, and like I have ones where if you're on a fitness journey and you want to give up, or you're like, I've been doing this for 3 weeks, I don't see any change, or I hit my goal, now what? It's like I'll save things where it says fitness has no end date. Once you've lost weight, you don't stop exercising and eating vegetables, workouts, eating healthy, moving daily are lifelong habits.
I was going to say, your fitness end date would be your date of death.
Right, exactly. But like some people need to be reminded, because like people used to say to me, well, what happens when you hit your goal? Well, now you're there. What do you mean what happens?
You move the bar.
You just keep going.
I mean, there are so many different things. I mean, like with the longevity of life, it's not just, it goes from being aesthetics to being health. I mean, it's a lot. There are different things that in your journey. So yeah, it never ends.
And then this meme ends saying, so if the idea of following your current plan forever fills you with horror, you probably need a better plan.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's like if you're like, oh my God, I've been killing myself for 3 months. I lost 20 pounds. And then but you're like, okay, now I'm done. It's like, no, then that's not a good plan for you. No. If you're killing yourself, you're exhausted, you've been doing 2 hours of cardio a day, and you're
all you're
eating
gonna do is just go right back to however it was. You're going to gain it all back and then have to do the thing all over again.
Exactly. So then that's not the plan for you. If you can't sustain it, you need a new plan. Or if you're like, this is freaking horrible, I hate this.
You have to enjoy it to a certain extent.
Yes.
You have to enjoy it.
Yes. So I think like those types of things, like following these like positive, these positive
creators,
posts, pages. That is where I think, and editing, doing a social media edit, meaning or audit. Where you go through, and there are lots of times where I'm like, why am I following this? And I'll just delete, or unfollow or mute the person, because I'm like, this is just, why am I filling my head with this? So now when I open it up,
and a lot of them, I mean, because a lot of people are negative without even knowing it, I mean, it's like, and you go through different seasons of your life too. So this may be a season where somebody that you were following last year doesn't resonate with where your growth is taking you. So that's happened to me a lot too. Over the last 5 years, there are a lot of people that are just,
And just remember, like,
you don't have anything for me anymore. So
exactly. Oh, there are plenty of people that I used to follow that I used to love. And like, say like, there was a girl who did all these like booty workouts, and I thought they were great, and she had a great figure and everything. But after a while, I was like, okay, I don't want to keep popping open my thing and having your butt. I don't want to
see your butt.
I got the workouts, and which was motivating, and it was really nice. But like, I was like, if that's all that there is to your life, then that's fine. But like, she offered nothing else. It was just a bunch of booty. So then once I was done, I was like, okay. But I would be like, I'd pop it open, and I'm like, all right, another butt in my face. So you gotta like think like, okay, that person was a purpose. I learned a lot of great exercises. Cool.
That was their season.
Yep,
and it's done. Yeah, exactly.
And so, and also,
but being able to recognize that is huge. I mean, with social media, because a lot of times you don't, you'll get sucked back into where you were, and that's not good either. So you have to give yourself permission to unfollow. It's okay. You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings. They probably don't even know that you're following them.
No.
So just unfollow, get them off your page, and move forward with your life.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah. So I have all these great great memes on my phone, and I go through them, and I just it says huge shout out to the entrepreneur who's going through the toughest time in their personal life but continues to show up for their brand, community, and clients. So many people don't understand the resilience it takes to keep pushing. I salute you. Like, I saw that a guy posted that, and that's during my 9 years I've been through a divorce. I've had all kinds of painful things, and we've had some things.
Yeah.
And like there are times when, it's like where I do want to just disappear. And, I did position myself as the face of the brand and the voice because, how else are people going to, we got to talk. But there are some times when I don't want to show up and I'm feeling awful, or I'm depressed, or I'm overwhelmed, or I'm sad, or I'm having issues with my co-parenting, ex now, and all these things. But I'm like, Dana, like you still got to show up for this brand because this is one of your babies too. But, it's a reminder that everybody has tough times.
Yeah.
And you still have to show up for your job. You still have to show up for your family. And so it's like sometimes I'll read something like that and I'm like, okay, that's a reminder that like it's going to, but this will pass.
Yep.
And, and then if you just, and sometimes there are some days that I'll say, you know what, it's okay. Social media will be there. I'm going to take a couple days off.
Yeah.
And I just need to let my mind rest, or I need to.
Absolutely.
And that's okay too.
Yes, absolutely.
I've had that. I have that all the time, even during this holiday time with my shoulder, whatever. I'm like, I'll show up when I feel like it, but if I don't, I won't, and you kind of, and that is the staying power of anybody wanting longevity in anything, in the fitness. If you're tired, take a day off.
Yeah. It's okay to rest.
If you're hungry, go eat a burger and then start fresh tomorrow. If you're like really struggling and you're like, I just want to eat great. Eat a burger. Stop torturing yourself. Yeah. Stop thinking you have to be perfect.
Yeah.
I do that all the time. And then, I don't obsess over the fact that I needed to allow myself to do that.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the span of the year, because now it's 2020, if I look at 2024, okay, so how many rests and cheat meals or whatever you want to call them, resets, feeds, my Chinese, my burger, my this. Okay, but did my good stuff outweigh all of my rests and my other things? Sure did.
Yeah.
So did I still make progress and still end up in a great spot?
Yeah.
Sure did.
Yeah.
Did they deter me from getting what I wanted? Nope. They actually probably helped me.
Yeah, because that's the other thing is that and we were talking about that, the mental mindset and stuff, is that you not think of things as good or bad.
Right.
It's all good.
It's all good.
It's
and they all serve a purpose.
Yes.
Like I was doing this like for the last, I don't even know what it was. Greg and I always had like a meal that we'd go out, and because I was trying to track and I was trying to be diligent and everything, but where I was like, I'm not. Like, let's just go out, let's order whatever we want, let's enjoy. Yep. And like that was like a mental thing I needed to do where I wasn't worried about what I was eating. I was just connecting with Greg and we were having a good time. Yeah. And that was it. Yeah. And I felt like, okay, and we would do them like on like a Sunday or whatever. And then that way Monday came and I'm like, cool, I'm ready to go
back
again.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did that too a couple of times with my watch. I'll take my watch off completely.
Yes.
So that, I'm like, okay, today's not, I'm just not even going to look at it. Today is my mental break.
Yes.
And I'm not going to obsess over my rings or my tracking or any of that kind of stuff. And then, you come back and you just, it's almost like a refresh.
Yes.
So,
and I guarantee if you give yourself like one of those days every week.
Yes.
Every week, you will end up doing way better than if you tried to just grind the whole week and then fall on your face and you're exhausted or you become burned out and sick of it.
Yeah. Rest is it's important.
It's a reset. It's so important. And I'd rather you take a rest than push and keep going and then exhaust yourself even more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's
been since the beginning of time. Rest. Everybody gets a rest day, even God. Everybody gets a rest day. So, so take it and enjoy it.
Yes. And there's something to it. I mean, obviously, there's a reason why there's a Sabbath.
Yes, exactly.
All the things because everybody needs that.
Yes.
So,
That's how we're designed.
Yep. I'm glad with social media that mindset is something that changed because years ago when you go on social media it was like I'll sleep when I'm dead. I'm like right.
It was nuts.
That was nuts. But now it's like everybody's realized like no, we're just gonna all burn out and then we'll all end up in a terrible place. So all right. So that 2025 I'm gonna do more of that. I'm gonna continue that because that's what I've been doing. But I think we're just all these things are just great things to remember. And with social media, like I said, you don't have to go completely off of it, but just do an audit and go in with a healthy mindset.
Yeah. Because it's super important. I mean,
and follow Devotion Nutrition.
Absolutely. Follow Devotion, follow Dana, follow Kelley.
We promise you we're a fun, healthy place to be.
Yeah, we're drama-free.
We'll bring you fun content.
Yes.
We'll give you good recipes.
Delicious recipes.
Yes, and great ideas for
tips and tricks.
Exactly.
Yeah, all that kind of good stuff.
And tell us what you want to see. I mean, we can show you guys all kinds of stuff and talk about stuff, but we like the feedback from people.
And honestly, after 9 years of recipes, we welcome some ideas. You know,
yeah.
If you have something that you want to see Dana make in the studio,
oh my God,
comment somewhere. And
I am
going
to get some more interesting though this year. We've been going back and doing all like the tried and trues like on our stuff. But this year we'll start to do some more fun. We'll do some cheesecakes. We'll do some like more fun things. Like, so, but we've just been doing the basics because also people get overwhelmed. They're like, just keep it simple for me. Like, I just want.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Well, we have to keep that. We have to keep them because we were always to keep it stupid simple.
Yes.
Okay. So we always have those, but there are some that, I mean, because you can do so much with devotion, that it's like untapped what a lot of people think, you know, I mean, that you can do with it.
We'll do that this year. That'll be one of our devotion resolutions to kind of jump a little outside of the box.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, this was great.
Yeah.
This was another good episode. Thanks for joining me. All right, you guys. Well, there you go. And I hope you're off to a great start for your new year, positive mindset, and join in next time for an episode of Until It's Done, a devoted podcast.
Yep.